So at this point, I'm sure you all are aware of this by now, but Destiny 2 gameplay has been officially revealed just a few days ago. And while I'm someone who is very excited for the new game, I'm also skeptical about some of the things that I saw on Bungie's livestream. I do love Destiny, having played hundreds of hours of the first iteration, and will most likely do the same for the sequel. But no game is perfect, especially not Destiny. And what would we be if we weren't critical of the things we love? While watching this video, I ask that you keep an open mind because everything I'm going to be talking about is based off of the little information we know so far. So it's possible that I'll present things on this list that are issues now, but won't be when we learn more about the game as the release date draws nearer. But without further ado, these are the top 5 things that make me worry about Destiny 2. Number 1. The new subclasses. Coming in Destiny 2 are 3 new subclasses: Dawnblade, Sentinel, and Arcstrider. And they all look awesome, I will admit. This topic is first on my list because it derives simply from a lack of information from Bungie, but I just want to know how these are implemented into the game. Currently, we know that old supers such as Gunslinger and Striker are returning, and they're being reworked. And being honest, I am really enjoying these changes. I think the original 6 supers in vanilla Destiny had this pick this perk or you're stupid thing to it, and certain subclasses were blatantly made for either PvE or PvP, not both. In Destiny 2, with the implementations I've seen so far, this doesn't seem like it's the case, which is definitely a good thing, and I'm hoping they're doing the same with all of the current subclasses. But this isn't where my problem comes from. It comes from the new supers and how they're going to be implemented into the game. In the gameplay reveal, we saw Zavala use the Word of Dawn, but as far as I know, we haven't seen it being used in-game in one of the trailers or anything. So it begs the question, will there be multiple Void supers for the Titan? Or is Sentinel just a replacement for Defender? And this question can be applied with the Warlock, with Solar, and the Hunter with Arc. Obviously we know that Gaul comes to the tower and takes our light, but does that mean that we will go out into the wild and learn new ways to use Arc, Solar, and Void? Or will the game start out like it does in the demo and be like, yeah, this is Sunsinger now? Why? I don't know, because video game, f*** you. Like I said, Gunslinger and Striker have been reworked. So is Arcstrider a rework of Blade Dancer? And if so, why does it get a different name and treated like a new ability? Because it's reworked more? And you know, I'm fine with them messing with the subclasses, but when you have to take something away to add something, it doesn't really feel like you got something new. Because, you know, you lost something. So I don't know what they're gonna do with the subclasses. I don't know if there's still more to be revealed. Who knows if these animals that everyone and their mom thought would be a new subclass a week ago have to do with anything anymore. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Looking at the facts though, I can see it going both ways. Arcstrider is extremely similar to Blade Dancer. Both the Titan and Warlock have new attributes similar to the Ward of Dawn, and Dawnblade does have the same grenades as Sunsinger did. But then again, we see Defender being used in the game by Zavala, so I really don't know about this one. Personally, I hope that they're new and the others are still there and revamped, because Destiny 2 really needs to feel like a new game, not just a reworked, better version of Destiny 1. Number 2. The enemies. As of right now, Destiny has 4 enemy factions: the Fallen, the Hive, the Vex, and the Cabal. I'd say it also has the Taken and the Devil Splicers, but they don't really count. They're just reskinned versions of the 4 main factions with some slightly different abilities. In Destiny 2, there's the Red Legion, which is a form of Cabal, and as of right now, there looks to be some new designs that they have. There's War Beasts, which are the dog-like creatures, I guess, and there's also Gladiators, which are the giant, dual-wielding sword enemies. Phalanxes also have some new abilities with their shields, and it looks like there's a weak point on some of your basic Cabal enemies that causes something on their back to explode. Other than that, the Red Legion are basically Cabal, just like the Splicers are basically Fallen. You know, personally, I think that they definitely tried harder to make the Red Legion more like the Taken, you know, making them stand out with actual new designs and abilities, unlike the Splicers. But even with that being said, I still think Destiny 2 needs a new class of enemy altogether. Already announced are 4 new locations on 3 new planets to explore, and I think it would be a huge bummer if at least one of them didn't have a new enemy faction. So far in trailers we've seen all of the old 4 factions, but nothing else. And honestly, I'd like it if they kept the new enemy a secret. But the fact that we haven't seen anything like that gives me the feeling that Bungie is just sticking with the 4 main enemy factions that they've had for the past 3 years. Just like how they're staying with only 3 types of guardians. But who knows? Only time will tell. Number 3. Gameplay variety. One of the best parts of Destiny 1 was the combat. The gameplay and animations were so smooth, traversal and shooting felt extremely satisfying. But unfortunately, that's all there really was in the game. There were vehicles in Destiny 1, primarily with Cabal and Fallen missions, but vehicle combat was still incredibly underutilized. In Destiny 2, they've already shown Guardians running alongside and controlling tanks, so hopefully they use more of this in the campaign, open world, and strikes. But my request goes even further than this. A large majority of Destiny's missions consist of nothing but shooting. And while they've gotten more varied and better over time, primarily in the Taken King with missions that cause you to act stealthily or run for your life, there's still a worry that missions will be, for lack of a better term, horde mode. The first mission they showed off, as well as the strike, were good indications that the missions would be more engaging, covering more ground with more things happening on the screen. But I still worry that every mission is just going to be shoot man, man shoot, shoot man shoot. Yeah. Variety is what keeps people playing, and Destiny needs that. Number 4. The reward system. If you ask me what I think the prime of Destiny was, I'd say the Taken King. I feel like Bungie took big leaps in the right direction in a multitude of different areas. One of those was the loot system. Infusion was much better than Ascension, and upgrading your armor and weapons wasn't as grindy. Exotics also felt more powerful, with their intrinsic exotic perk being automatically unlocked right away. Getting maximum light loot was difficult and took time, but it wasn't a grind and was mindful of your time. Fast forward to Rise of Iron, and Destiny took a step in a too casual direction for me. In my opinion, there were just too many easy ways to get maximum light loot. I think if you go 2 in 14 in an Iron Banner match, you shouldn't get the same loot as someone who played hours in the raid or fought like hell to get to the lighthouse. And even if you think these participation trophies are okay in Destiny, I think we can all agree that people getting to max light through heavy ammo synths and motes of light through factions is the most broken thing ever. If people hit 385 before the raid even comes out, then there's a problem. I'm all for making sure that everyone is making progression, but there should only be a select few ways to get to the maximum level. Everyone should feel powerful and special, but those that beat the raids or went to the lighthouse should be able to express themselves and have something to strive for that others simply can't get. And if these guided games and clan systems that they're implementing are what they say they are, then there should be little to no excuse for a player who desires to play a raid or be successful in trials. I'm not saying that I think farming manually for 16 helium filaments per upgrade was a good idea, but there needs to be incentive to keep playing. And when you're handing out the best loot in the game to everyone that has thumbs, then the game feels less special quickly. I want those awesome loot drop moments again. I don't want to apathetically get 7 wins in trials, not caring about the flawless because I'll get 2 max light drops anyway. There needs to be incentive for doing the activities that not every player can do. You know, it was like that for me in year 1 and even in year 2 to an extent, with the exception being the lackluster raid weapons. But Bungie needs to make rewards, well, feel rewarding. Number 5. The story. It's no secret that the story in Destiny 1 was amazing and will be hard to top. Just kidding, it sucked ass. I think that things got better with the Taken King, and then once again took a step back for Rise of Iron with an insane amount of missed potential. And while the Taken King had a decent story that one could follow and a good antagonist in Oryx, it was very simple. Oh look, A big scary man wants revenge for killing his son. Kill him first. If Destiny 2 wants to be a great game, it needs to have a better story than this. I think that Ghaul's motivation is good and can become deep and developed. Destiny 2 needs to have some twists and turns along the way. It needs to make me care about what I'm doing with the characters. It needs to put a codex in the game so I can read the grimoire in the game. I don't want the new planets to just be there to slap one of the Vanguard on. I think if they do this in a step-by-step style, moving on to getting back Zavala, then Akora, and then Cayde, the story will be kind of bland, predictable, and not well paced. A big part about storytelling isn't really what the story is about, it's how the story is told. If you look at The Last of Us, the premise sounds kind of bland and overused. Zombie virus, this girl you meet is immune, and you have to take her there to save mankind. But The Last of Us has a great story because of how unpredictable it is, how great and developed all the characters are. It's memorable, shocking, and really makes you care about its universe. And I'm not looking for a Last of Us caliber story from this game, I'm really not. I just want something that's interesting, that goes to unexpected places, has memorable moments, an emotional connection, and characters that I care about. There was something in the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal regarding the story that I think is potentially going to be a big problem. And I think I need a solid 10 minutes to talk about this in its own video, because it's something that has been an issue in all of Destiny 1, but yet has gone relatively unnoticed. So within the next few days, if you decide to subscribe and stick around, you will see a video on what I believe is Destiny's biggest problem. A much deeper analysis of the entire Destiny story. At its start, I think everyone, including the developers, didn't know what type of game Destiny was. But over these 3 years, I think we've all figured that out. With what we've seen so far, I think it's safe to say that Destiny 2 will be the Destiny game that people wanted 3 years ago. However, with that being said, Destiny 2 is a new game, and it needs something to portray it as such. Whether it be a new enemy faction, class of Guardian, more subclasses, or something else, Destiny 2 needs that hook to say, this isn't just a better version of the game you already have. This is a brand new game. I understand it's hard to add something like this into a game when you're already trying to get the current version of your game balanced, but for so long Destiny has been a game where the synopsis of a new content release is just more Destiny. If you like Destiny, you'll like this. Looking at Destiny 2, there's little to find wrong in the gameplay and cinematic trailers we've seen. People who are upset with Destiny 2 aren't upset because the game doesn't look good. They're upset because they were expecting a greater leap forward. And that's why you see people sarcastically saying on the internet, wow, this Destiny 2 DLC looks amazing. There's still a lot of time left for Bungie to announce more things about the game, and I really hope that Bungie still has something up their sleeve to reveal. For lack of a better term, I hope Bungie hasn't blown their whole load just yet. And despite this, whether all, some, or none of the things on my list are brought into Destiny 2, I'll still buy and play the hell out of the game. But I can't help but think Destiny 2 will have some missed potential, and will lose out on some potential buyers looking for something more. So those are my thoughts, but now I want to hear yours. Do you agree with my list? Why or why not? Would you add or subtract anything to it? Do you think Destiny 2 is going to be a great game, or do you think it's just a better version of Destiny 1? Put your responses and feedback in the comments below. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe now for more Destiny 2 videos. Depending on when you're watching this, I'll put the story video I mentioned earlier on your screen, so you can go click it and watch it. But that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.